Greetings, Israel and sojourners of Israel. My name is Brother Jedediah, and today's date is August the 14th, 2022. I am coming to the nation with this topic, Abraham and the South Africa deception. Again, the title of my lesson is Abraham and the South Africa deception. This is a rebuttal to a message I heard on YouTube that Abraham went to South Africa. Also, a rebuttal to another misleading deception that Jerusalem is in southwestern Africa. I'm going to debunk both lies with scriptures and facts. Genesis 12, line 1 through 5. Now the Most High has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. Which means the Most High was Abraham's navigational guide. Genesis 12 and 2. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. Let me sidetrack and make this interjection. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. This line is referring only to the Most High's chosen people, Abraham's offspring, the 12 tribes of Israel, 100% pure Negroes, no Neanderthal, no Denisovans, just pure. A people who were given the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. I must interject this here and now to show that the Most High was only referring to one nation of people. Amos 3, line 1 and 2. Hear this word that the Most High hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Again, the title of my lesson is Abraham and the South Africa deception. Genesis 12, line 4. So Abram departed as the Most High had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Genesis 12 and 5. And Abram took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance that they have gathered, and the souls that they have gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan there came. Genesis 13 and 1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. So if Abraham went up out of Egypt, and Egypt is south of Canaan, he would have gone up into southern Canaan, the south. Abraham's destination was never Egypt nor southern Africa. He only went to Egypt to save his family from starvation. Genesis 12 and 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And Abraham went down south into Egypt, and he went up north into southern Canaan, the south. Let me say, try again one more time. Egypt is in Africa and not the Middle East. And Africa has always been a place of refuge for the chosen people. The Most High did not designate America, Europe, nor the Western Hemisphere for his chosen people. We need to wake up, get up, and get on out of here, this Western Hemisphere, and get back to the land of plenty, which is Africa, lest we perish. Northern Egypt borders southern Canaan, and southern Canaan is on the African tectonic plates, which means that southern Canaan is on the continent of Africa. Again, southern Canaan is on the African continent. Again, the title of my lesson is Abraham and the South Africa Deception. Why would the Most High send Abraham 5,000 miles away from his destination? The destination that the Most High wanted Abraham to travel to was the land of Canaan and not South Africa. Why South Africa and not Ethiopia, which is a biblical land just south of Egypt? Genesis 2, line 10 through 13. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from hence it was parted and became into four heads. The name of the first is the Pison. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There's bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is the Gihon. The same is it that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia. When the Most High laid out the blueprint where man should live, he gave us water courses, and water is the sustenance of life. And Ethiopia is included in those water courses to sustain life, and not the Kalahari Desert. Why would the Most High send Abraham, his friend, 5,000 miles south to the Kalahari Desert to perish where there's no water? So Abraham went up into southern Canaan, the south, and not down south into the Kalahari Desert. If Abraham went to South Africa, why would the Most High allow Moses and Joshua to lead Abraham's offspring that were in Egypt through the dangerous Red Sea and up north into the land of Canaan, and not south into southern Africa, where their grandfather Abraham would have probably lived and died? It does not make sense. This is why we have to study the word of the Most High for ourselves, and not let these YouTubers who are driven by money and not truth lead us off and away from the Most High. One popular camp, GOCC, teaches another false and misleading theory that the children of Israel fled into West Africa via the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. Why would the Most High send his chosen people 2,700 miles in the wrong direction? If we take a straight line trajectory 3,000 miles east from on top the Atlas Mountains in Morocco, it would take us through Syria and not Israel, which means that Israel is south of the Atlas Mountains. The children of Israel needed to go southwest to get around the Sahara Desert, and not west-north. West-north would have led the children of Israel to Europe and not West Africa. Gibraltar is about 7.7 nautical miles from Morocco, and Gibraltar is in Europe. Follow me, my people, on this geography journey, because once you know geography, it's hard to be misled. Sirach in the Apocrypha 34, line 9 through 11. A man that hath traveled knoweth many things, and he that hath much experience will declare wisdom. He that hath no experience knoweth little, but he that hath traveled is full of prudence. When I travel, I saw many things, and I understand more than I can express. Most of our people on YouTube have never stepped foot out of America. They only know the world through Google Maps, a recent invention. Where was Google Maps when the Mosai laid the foundation of the earth? The Mosai guided the children of Israel, which are Abraham's offspring, by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, through the wilderness for 40 years. How did Abraham navigate his way from Egypt to the Kalahari Desert in southwestern Africa? Did he use Google Maps? Remember, the Most High was Abraham's navigational guide from Haran to Canaan. He never sent Abraham to the Kalahari. So if Abraham went to the Kalahari, he was on his own, no guidance from the Most High. Many of our people do not even have passports. Neither are they interested in obtaining passports to get back to Africa, the promised land. Wake up, my people, wake up. We are being fed lies by so-called Hebrews, and these so-called Hebrews are regurgitating these lies on YouTube to deceive and mislead you, the chosen people. My next interjection is, did Abraham leave the Kalahari Desert in southwestern Africa and went back to the land of Canaan? If not, he was in total disobedience to the Most High, who sent him from his father's house to the land of Canaan and not the Kalahari. We must remember, Abraham is not Jonah, who disobeyed the Most High and paid dearly for it. Abraham would have never disobeyed the Most High. Abraham was obedient and willing to sacrifice his son Isaac, the chosen seed, to please the Most High. To the Negroes, you must wake up to truth and stop accepting these lies and deceptions that is being promoted on YouTube. Most of these false teachers on YouTube are driven by YouTube's money. For 400 years, we have been lied to by Christianity, and today we are being lied to by so-called Hebrews who want to get rich on YouTube. Same lie, different messenger. We were initially lied to by Europeans, but this different messenger looked like us. So-called Hebrews are showing you an upside down 6 and telling you it's a 9, all because of their greed for money. We must remember Psalms 37 and 16. A little a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. The Most High has a remnant that is going to teach truth and is not going to compromise with the enemy and lose their reward. 1 Kings 19 and 18. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which have not kissed him. In closing, I must say this. We must believe the Most High's words and not man's philosophy. Man's philosophy is his own ideology, and we will always be on the wrong track. The Messiah is precise in everything he does. He is not a flip-flopper, saying one thing and meaning something else. We must trust the Most High and lean not to man's understanding. Again, the title of my lesson is Abraham and the South Africa Deception. Jerusalem is not and was never in the Kalahari Desert. Addis Ababa is the only African city in the region that is surrounded by mountains and fits the description of biblical Jerusalem. So if biblical Jerusalem is in Africa, I am not saying that it is. It's just an assertion. But if it is, it could be only Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, surrounded by mountains. Psalms 125 and 2. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Most High is round about his people from henceforth, even forever. Negroes, think about this. If the Most High sent Abraham to Canaan, why is he in the Kalahari, 5,000 miles away from his destination? To obey is better than to sacrifice. And rebellion or disobedience is as the sin of witchcraft. Abraham never disobeyed the Most High. And again, I must conclude with the great King Solomon. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. We must stay away from these YouTubers, lies and deceptions, and wake up to the Most High's truth if we are going to make it to the new kingdom. Again, we must trust the Most High, keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, live righteous, love your brother, live upright, and we all will make it to that new Jerusalem that the Most High is going to prepare for us. Thank you, and may the Most High bless.